CEAS Change of Major and Transition Events website. Okay, perfect. Welcome. Thank you for being here. This is our College of Engineering and Applied Science Change of Major and Transition panel. This is a new program that we're offering this year that we have not offered in the past because we have heard from students again and again. They want to hear from other students who have navigated this process of applying to CEAS majors. So we have brought in some really incredible students for you to share their expertise and experiences and for you to be able to reach out to later on for insight and tips as you move along throughout your journey to becoming an engineer. My name is Corinne Cook. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an assistant director of advising in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. I've been here for just about 4.5 years and I absolutely love it. Seeing students become engineers is just the coolest part of my job and I get such a kick out of it. I also oversee all of our change of major and transition advising and application processes. I run our CEAS advising email. So generally when you're submitting those applications, you're communicating with your team. I'm there behind the scenes helping make that happen. So I'm excited to work with you in all of those different components. Now I'm going to turn it over to our panelists. If I could go ahead and have all of you go ahead and turn on your cameras. You can turn on your mics, and then we are going to have you introduce yourselves in the order that you see yourselves on this slide. I'm going to go ahead, cut my mic. You're going to share your name, pronouns if you're comfortable sharing them, and I just want kind of a brief history of your journey to your current major. And Grace, we are going to start with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Owens. I am a fourth-year computer science major. I use she, her pronouns. I actually was totally torn when I was applying whether to go into environmental, chemical, computer science, computer engineering. I decided on environmental, and then the whole time computer science and computer engineering was still in the back of my head. And as I went through my first year and talked to my advisors, attended different events at the College of Engineering, I realized that computer science was the better fit for me. So here I am now.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Bensler. I was a former FEP student, so I got into the College of Engineering, but was not in a major to start out with. So when I was going through the process, I was sort of between biomedical, because I always had an interest of health sciences all throughout high school, and then I was also interested in civil engineering because I was also interested in architecture, but I could not draw. So through a lot of debate and whatever, I chose civil engineering because that's where my passions lie. So.
Sarah, I believe you are up next if you're ready. Oh, you are currently muted. See if you are able to unmute yourself there. Perfect.
I'm Sarah Al-Baluchi. I'm an international student majoring in environmental engineering, and I'm a pre-junior student. Currently, I have a co-op semester. It's my first co-op semester, and I'm taking EEP in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. And I used to choose the environmental engineering as my major because I have a scholarship from my government to study environmental engineering in UC. And before that, I was in exploratory science or studies. And then I transferred to College of Engineering and Applied Science. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Hannah Rimstead. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a second-year student in the architectural engineering program. I actually started my first year as a mechanical engineering student, and when I applied to UC, like a couple other people have mentioned, I was kind of torn between a few different things, and I just decided to go ahead and put mechanical as my first choice and architectural as my second choice, so I started mechanical. But for the entirety of first semester last year, I kind of always had that thought in the back of my head, like, maybe architectural is the right engineering major for me. So as I learned more about it, I leaned more towards it, and then I knew that I wanted to try and switch my majors, so I applied, and then I switched basically over break. So I started second semester last year as an AE major instead of mechanical.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charles Adams, currently a fourth year in computer science. I go by he and him. And during my second semester, second year, was when I initially got into computer science. I applied for the first time my first semester, second year, and didn't get in. And I was always kind of steadfast on being in computer science, computer engineering, and possibly mechanical or electrical engineering. But I'd always been pretty sure that I wanted to be in computer science or computer engineering, and just reaching out was the main component of my success in getting in computer science. And I have nothing but happiness and joy for Corinne because she was the main component of me actually getting in. So thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Andrew. I'm an electrical engineering technologies major. And I go by he, him. And let's see, so I started in mechanical engineering, and then I ended up going to finance, and then to bio, and now I'm back in engineering. But it's a good fit, so.
I think Andrew might have the most winding journey of everybody. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that. Thank you all for your introductions. So the way that this is going to work for those of you who are in our audience is I've got some prepared questions for the group. So we are going to go through those prepared questions. And once we get through some of those, we are going to turn it over to you. So if there's anything we missed or you've heard and you still want to learn about, you'll have an opportunity to do that towards the end. So our first set of questions are all about choosing a major. They're not going to answer all of these. I'm just going to throw them out there to kind of get the ball rolling and help them think about what might be good to talk about. So how did you realize you wanted to change majors? How did you choose your major, and what other majors were you interested in? And ultimately, like, why did you choose the one you chose? Are there any resources or strategies you'd really recommend for students who are trying to figure out what that best fit might be? What about like those of you who included a second or a third choice on your application? Like, how did you decide to do that? Were you worried about getting into one of those? Did you get into one of those and you're happy now? And ultimately, something I hear a lot from students is like, how do I know I made the right choice? So what did that feel like for you all? And whoever would like to begin, you can take it.
Do you want me to answer all of them, or do you want me to just answer like one or two?
Go ahead and just answer whichever one kind of appeals the most to you. You definitely do not have to answer all of them.
All right. The last one, how did you know you made the right choice? For me, it was pretty easy to see because I really didn't enjoy my coursework up until changing to EET. And then I really liked it. So it's just like when you feel comfortable, you'll know.
I can go next. So like I said in my intro, I was very pulled between like a bunch of different engineering majors. And it wasn't until I got, like I had taken computer science courses in high school and knew that I really liked programming and coding, but there was still a big part of me that was interested in like the sustainability aspect of environmental engineering or working on consumer products and chemical. So it wasn't until that I got in my engineering classes and my coding classes that I was 100% convinced that coding and like cybersecurity is what I could see myself going to work every single day and doing as a career path for the rest of my life. So it was something that definitely took me getting into the College of Engineering, attending different panels, hearing industry experts talk about it, and getting to know more of like what courses I would be taking until I realized that computer science was the better fit for me.
Yeah, so for me, I chose environmental engineering since I was in high school. because I'm an international student, so I got a scholarship from my government to choose any engineering major based on my grades for high school. So first I used environmental engineering because I really do care about the environment, and I wanna by like engineering the process of environmental field in different industries or departments or whatever. And also I chose like three different top majors when I applied for the application. The first major was the environmental engineering, and the second civil engineering, because it's a little like related. It's not related to environment, but the classes would be in the same field. And the third major was chemical engineering, but I have been admitted in environmental. And uh, some ways that led students to think which major would be best or fit for the student. I think they should look for the major plans for the classes, and which classes are much more interested, then they can choose their perfect major for them.
I can go next. I was looking at the question about like resources or strategies for people who are trying to find the best fit for them. And when I knew that I was kind of leaning towards architectural engineering, but I wanted more information about it, I was able to kind of set up a meeting with one of the architectural engineering co-op advisors. Somebody, I think my academic advisor referred me to her because she knew that she had a lot of information on the topic, because I was really looking for more information on what co-ops those students were getting, and then post-graduation where they were finding like full-time jobs and what they were doing there, because I wanted to know, like, besides the classwork, what am I going to be doing like long term. And once I set up like a little Zoom meeting with her, and she's in touch with a lot of like recent graduates, and she was able to tell me like the recent jobs that they were getting or what kinds of co-ops people were doing, and a lot of them just really sounded appealing to me, and I liked all the different options that I would have in that major. So if you can find like an advisor that's in the program that you're interested in, whether it's academic or like a co-op advisor, depending on what information you're looking for, they can be a super, super good resource to give you that information as well. And another way that I kind of decided that architectural engineering was right for me and found out more information about that was by using job search sites. And then once I knew what those jobs were, like what careers people were taking through that major, I kind of like put the keywords into job search sites, and then I would find job listings, and I would look at the descriptions of those jobs and like see what appealed to me. And once I found out that those all were appealing to me, I really felt a lot more confident about that. I guess that kind of leads into the last question about how did you know you made the right choice. I was really nervous about switching majors, and like looking back on it, I don't know why I was so nervous, because looking back, I'm very confident that it was the right choice, and I'm super happy in my major now. And I guess I kind of know that it was the right choice because the entire first semester last year, I always had like that nagging thought in the back of my head, like, what if architectural engineering is right for me and it's better for me than mechanical engineering? And then as soon as I officially like made that switch and like confirmed my new major, I felt so much better, and I felt like so confident, and I was just really happy that I made that switch. So that's kind of how I knew it was right for me.
A strategy I found pretty successful was definitely reaching out and forming a relationship with those who are involved in the CAS transition process, and also just with my professors, just getting your name out and getting your interest known to those who helped me to feel more confident about the entire process, because I get really nervous about uncertainties and whatnot. I'm sure as most we do, but it helped me to feel more confident. And I actually personally reached out to Corinne. That's how I know her, just when I was applying. And with all the information and resources that they provided, I was eventually granted admission to the College of Engineering, even though I failed to get in my first attempt. It's just after, if you put your pursuit and your knowledge out there and your interest out there, they will be more likely to accept you into the college, even if you don't necessarily have the minimum requirement GPA or whatnot. As long as you put your interest and your ideas out there and make it clear to them that you want to be a part of the engineering college, it really helps and helped me to feel more confident.
Wow, I love hearing all these. I'm so used to working with students on the front end of their major change process that hearing you all talk about like not having that nagging feeling, it feeling right sitting in classes, like that is like the magic I hope for students. And it's so cool to hear like you do have those really tangible moments that feel great. And I do want to like follow up on what Charles said. Connecting with us is very, very important. It's not like you meet Corinne and we like rub elbows and you get in, but we do think that students who are better connected, who feel confident about their ability to get in and what's expected, who build relationships and are willing to do whatever it takes to become a computer science student because they are excited. They're like in ACM student organization meetings. They know that coding is their life and their blood. We know that those things make you a better applicant and that results in a higher GPA. More than that, though, we do offer a holistic review process for students who fall right below the GPA criteria. And these are some of the things that we work for. How has the student demonstrated motivation, persistence? How have they deepened their connection and their understanding of the major in our college and really committed to this work? And that is something our faculty, when they do a deep dive into a student's record, will be looking for. So I'm really, really happy to hear you say that, Charles, and I am just so happy you are here. Okay, I am going to pull up our next set of questions. We've kind of been touching on these a little bit already, but these are really all about that application process. So did you have to wait more than one semester in order to apply to your major? Did you have to do it more than once? And what was that experience like? What were some of the biggest challenges you navigated when you were going through all of this, and how did you overcome them? Were you accepted to your top choice major? How did you feel about that? If you were accepted to a second or third, how have you like made sense of that since then? And I kind of do want to talk about like that moment you were accepted to the new major. Were you able to get all the courses you need? So I'll hand it back over to you.
I'll kind of touch on the first one. Did you have to wait more than one semester to apply to your major? I did not. But it's important to look at the application deadlines because I was really close to not being able to apply. So I would have been, I think, an exploratory student, and I don't even know what classes qualify for that. Let's see. Yeah, just the experience. Again, I went through a major change advisor, and he was really helpful. He made schedules for me. We just talked about my interests, and he really helped me make the decision, honestly. So I recommend him or anyone in major change advising.
Yeah, I can sort of piggyback off of that, but I sort of came from a different direction. So freshman engineering program, you're admitted into the college, however, you're not admitted into a major. So it doesn't necessarily affect you freshman year per se, because everyone is sort of taking the same ENED classes, the gen ed classes and whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong, Corinne, but I think I did have to wait just one semester to apply to a major. It's been a long time. But yes, I guess she could.
What I can chime in and say is there's a couple of different things that would result in a student having to wait a couple of semesters. Most often it's like math. So if a student is not yet in the minimum required math course, usually Calculus 1 or pre-calc, transition students need 24 credit hours to apply. So they typically have to spend 2 semesters. And then FEP students, I don't know, you all just like to hang out with us a lot. So sometimes you stay around extra, if that helps.
Yeah, no, that does. I think I actually did. So I think I did pre-calc my first semester, and I did calc my second semester. That's probably why I waited. But But yeah, so I mean, that being said, I did get into the major that was my top choice. You know, that first year, I sort of helped me really narrow down my interests with the freshman engineering classes that I took. And so, I mean, I met all the requirements for civil engineering, and here I am, and I haven't looked back since, and I've enjoyed every step of it. So.
I can talk about that last question. Were you able to register for all the courses you needed once you were accepted? So I kind of decided to apply to change my major around the time when I was getting ready to register for my second semester classes of my freshman year, and that's actually when I told my academic advisor that I wanted to try to change my major. So she referred me to that the application. I was able to do that, but I had to wait till I think they got back to us like between the semesters about whether or not we were accepted into that program. So when I was scheduling my classes, I was actually still scheduling for mechanical engineering. But I wanted to leave room for myself so that if I got into architectural engineering and if I did decide to switch, that I would be able to easily shift my schedule over to the new curriculum. And it really wasn't much of a challenge because there was only one class that was different. So it was just like swapping one class for another. But I looked at the times that the different classes were available, and when I made my mechanical engineering schedule, I left space so that once I dropped the ME class, I could pick up the AE class without having to completely redo my schedule. That might have been like more than was necessary for me to do, but I was just being like, I wanted to be vigilant about that process. So I wanted to make sure it was a smooth transition once I was accepted, if I was accepted, and then once I switched. So that made things super easy. Once I did switch over, I dropped the one class, picked up the next one. I was ready to go for second semester.
Good. So for me, I'm as a transfer student, or transition. So I had to wait for 2 semesters because I applied for environmental engineering as a transition. So I had to wait for 2 semesters for spring and summer, and then the admission starts at fall. But for the classes, I took engineering classes. So in spring semester 2020, which was my first semester, I took Calc 1 and then the summer Calc 2. And the requirements were the GPA should be above 3, and I have to complete 24 credit hours transfer to the CEAS. And the challenges were because it was my first semester as an academic classes. It was hard to keep my GPA above 3, but I did it, and I did well in my classes. And also there was a class. First. So I been from engineering. I used to be in exploratory studies, and so I didn't have a specific major, but I took some engineering classes. And there was a class called ENID. It's about engineering foundation fundamentals, and it taught us about different engineering fields such as electrical and environmental and civil and different fields. So that class helped me to choose like environmental engineering properly. Thank you.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I initially submitted my change of major first semester of my sophomore year, and I wasn't able to make it in. I believe because I didn't have the required math and sciences. I was taking Calc 2 and Chem 2 at the time, and I actually, like the summer that I applied and got in, I was able to make it in because I showed my passion and my drive to take those classes over again, which is really key to the whole process. Just the willingness to try again, even if you've failed or did all right it's always about just trying again and just showing that you want to be in the major. And for the last question, the advisors here do a great job. They almost bug you. Like they send you comprehensive list every week, the deadlines and what expectations you need to make and what classes you should be taking. So that really helped me to fight that uncertainty of what I should be doing. And plus, I also, just a quick Google search of UC and requirements also helps. They have a lot of information out there, almost too much, but it's better than having none at all.
That was perfect. Thank you, because you're right, we will bug you and find you and make sure that everything is perfect, because that's what we care about and what we want to be able to provide for you. We know one of the big pieces that can be really anxiety provoking for students is like waiting to add those classes. Like I can just like think of Hannah with like the architectural class in her shopping cart, just like watching the status symbol. And I just always want to reassure folks, that's what our advisors do best, is get you in those classes. We save seats to make sure students can have the classes that they need to get on track. And as Charles mentioned, we will get you into them. Okay, our next set of questions is all about tips that you have for applicants. So how can students earn the best GPAs possible in preparation, not just to apply, but when they're going to be searching for co-ops as well? Do you have any advice for students who are concerned that they might not meet the criteria for that top choice major? What ways do you think students can or should, or it would be good for them to get involved in that future major right now? If you went to career fair before you were in your new major, how did you navigate those conversations and like talk to employers and think about co-op before you had some certainty around that? And is there anything that you wish someone had told you before you went into your major? So again, you don't have to answer them all, whichever one speaks to you. And I will go ahead and hand it off.
Yeah, I could start with, oh.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Okay. I was gonna just address the one about how did you navigate the career fair without knowing your major. So for me personally, I sort of just always had an inkling that civil was gonna be the one I chose. And even though I wasn't in the major, I still ended up going to the career fair just to see what it was about. And it paid off a lot because I actually ran into someone who is a representative at a company who recognized my last name just because they lived in the same area that I did. And then I ended up having a summer internship with them outside of co-op. And then I had my first co-op with the same company. So it's just a really good way to explore, you know, what opportunities are out there. It's really good to make connections as well. And you know, it's just small world things really do mean a lot too. So.
I can talk about earning, like trying to earn the best GPA possible to prepare to apply and search for co-ops. My freshman year, like when I was the first semester of my first year, when I was in environmental, but knew in the back of my head that it wasn't right for me, I figured I would end up in either computer science or computer engineering. So throughout the whole semester, even though it was like my first semester in engineering, lots of hard college classes for the first time, was going through that whole academic transition, it was still very much in the back of my head, like I'm going to be applying for co-ops next semester. I'm also going to be trying to change my major this semester, where they're going to be looking at my GPA and they're going to be looking at how well or not well I've done this semester. So that was definitely a lot of motivation for me to keep my GPA up, because I knew if I took a hit my first semester, it probably wouldn't look that good when I was trying to apply to get into another major. So just some things I did while I was in that process is I definitely utilized office hours for, I think, all of my classes. Office hours have been the best way for me personally every semester to get more of a personal connection with your professor. You learn a lot about them that way. It's turned into volunteer opportunities with me. There's that, like my calculus professor from first year, I got to know her really well just through going through office hours, and I ended up volunteering with her a lot. So that was really neat. On top of that, just general time management skills is something that's helped me get a good GPA and keep it. And also just keeping in the back of your head that motivation of you're going to need that good GPA for co-ops and changing your major. That can be a big motivator.
I can talk about the. Oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to go with the first question to earn the best GPAs as possible. So students should maintain their GPA from the first semester because it's very important. And for me, like for the first semester, I got Chem 1 and Calc 1. All are these materials, I took them from the high school. And these materials should be similar to high school materials that students took. And it's very, like, it's not very easy, but it's an easy way to maintain your GPA and always keep in touch with the TAs and the professors. Always ask about anything you don't understand. And it's okay to ask any question. Always try to watch videos on YouTube because that's really helpful. I use that way. And also for the co-op search, the career fair are very important to find like an appropriate co-op position. And also some UC advisors, the academic advisors or the co-op advisors also help students to find the co-op or the job search for the co-op.
I can talk about the question about getting involved in their future major now. So I would definitely recommend getting involved in student organizations that are relevant to the major that you're interested in. There are tons of student organizations out there, and I feel like every major has at least one student organization that would be relevant to that major. As an architectural engineering student, I'm involved in Architectural Engineering Institute, Structural Engineering Association, Construction Student Association, and there's probably more out there that would be relevant to me as well. And I can say pretty confidently for any of those organizations and probably lots of others as well, that even if you're not in a major that's like specifically relevant to that group, if you show interest in it, and especially if you want to transfer to a major that's relevant to that group, you would, like, if you wanted to walk into any of their meetings and just start going to those, you'd definitely be welcomed with open arms. And it could also be a great way to meet students who are already in that major, and they can give you all kinds of advice and information, or any questions that you might have about it, they can probably answer those. And it's also a good way to connect with people who are in the industry, because at a lot of those meetings, industry representatives from companies that are relevant to that major will probably be there. So it can be a really good networking opportunity as well. And it's also just fun to connect with peers who have similar interests to you. So I definitely recommend that.
I just wanted to piggyback off Sarah and Grace. The most important thing that I would recommend before you like join your major is just realize that you need to like put yourself out there. You need to go to office hours and talk to your TA, talk to your teacher. It'll really help with your relationship and how you feel about the class.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
When I was a student here, I had a professor who told us, like, every single student who comes to my office hours will get a better grade. And I'm like a first year student, like, yes, I got it. I will come and get the points. And obviously they didn't mean that they were just like handing out points in office hours, but it goes back to what we said before, like as you deepen those connections, like these things have a really subtle but powerful impact on your ability to navigate this environment, ask for help in the future, and know where to go when you need it. So these answers have just been awesome. I've loved it. I have one more set of prepared questions, and then we will turn it over to the folks in the audience to see if there is anything they are dying to ask you all. These are about life in CEAS. So once you got in, what was challenging about starting in the major and what made it easier? Do you know how many co-ops you're going to complete prior to graduation in your new major? And if you've already completed them, maybe tell us what they were like. Hannah's already told us a little bit about that laundry list of involvement she's got going on. I would love to hear what else you are all doing, whether that's like student organizations, volunteering, work, or anything along those lines. We have a ton of additional academic opportunities in CEAS. Our students get minors, they get their masters through Ascend, they might do international co-op. Are any of you taking advantage of those opportunities and why? And the last one we could think about is which of your skills, strengths, experiences have been most beneficial to you now that you are here?
Okay.
I can talk. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm gonna go with this second question. So I had this is my first co-op, as I told you guys, and I'm taking an AEP, which is a program. It's really a helpful program for students, especially for first co-op, because it taught us like for different courses you can apply in LinkedIn Learning, and also from the Department of Engineering, you can find some online courses which are different from the classes. It's not an academic classes, it's coding or programming or whatever, or also Microsoft applications. So it's a really helpful thing to do for first co-op. And my second co-op is going to be next summer, and I'm trying to apply for that from now. And I have to complete 5 co-ops until I graduate. So my graduation is going to be in fall 2024.
I was just going to talk about the second question too, especially being a change of major student. Even though I was like dead set computer, by the time I applied, I was dead set computer science was right for me. I still was kind of like, what if I made the wrong decision? And then co-op has been something for me that's been an opportunity before I graduate to realize that, like, yes, this is the right path for me. I remember like thinking, okay, I really like my computer science classes. What if the industry isn't everything that I thought it would be? What if I go on my first co-op and realize like, oh wait, I don't want to do this for the next 4 decades of my life. And then co-op, I got there, I got a position that I really liked with a company I was stoked about. And I remember it's just like big feeling of relief that I was like, okay, I am right where I want to be. I'm excited about this industry. And it just reaffirmed that I was right where I should be in an industry that I was passionate about, and doing something that I could see myself doing for the rest of my career path. So I think co-op is a invaluable opportunity that UC provides us to get those realizations before we even graduate, because I've definitely heard cases of students who have realized they wanted to change their major after they do their first co-op, because they go out in the industry and realize like that certain career path isn't right for them, and they want to do a 180 and go into a different major, which is something that is invaluable to realize while you're still in college and can make those changes, rather than after you already graduate and you enter the industry for the first time. So love co-op.
For the last question, strength and experiences that have been beneficial to class and co-op, I'd say one that's definitely invaluable is discipline, because doing things that you love, hate, that you find tedious, boring, all that, as long as you're putting in the work, it tends to bear fruit at the times you least expect it or expect it the most. Because I'm currently in my first co-op search, and I found a good routine and habit of doing an hour or two every day, just sending out resumes, looking at my email, just getting into that habit. And I just received my first offer from Johnson & Johnson and 2 others that I have interviews scheduled in. The whole co-op process a month ago seemed just so intimidating. But I was like, as long as I stay steadfast and strong in my search, I can just go out there and do what I do best.
Yeah, I can definitely echo what Charles just said. Discipline and diligence definitely go a long way. I'm currently looking for my fourth and fifth co-op rotation. And the thing, I think actually I can address also the first question too, what's challenging about starting in your major. I know for civil, there's just so many different things you could do with civil. Like you could do water resource, you could do site civil design, you could do structural, I mean, the opportunities are just almost endless. And so, again, diligence and hard work, just, doing what you're passionate about and doing it well and, putting your best effort forward often pays off a lot of dividends in the end, and you end up doing exactly what you want to do.
I'm going to comment on number 3. So outside of class, I mostly work. I work at Kroger over in Hyde Park, and then I also volunteer at the hospital. They will help with my co-op resume, but other than that, that's all I have for this slide.
Okay, that was great. Andrew, some things I would like to share with you is not only is it like helping with your resume, but it's probably one of the places where you like interact with one of the most diverse groups of people, like even then on a college campus, right? Like everyone on a college campus has gotten to a college campus. That was what I loved about working in a restaurant for 10 years is like, that's where you really meet every type of person. And I think that set me up to like understand different types of students and families and faculty and colleagues so much better. It made me a leader. Like I loved being a good restaurant employee, right? So yes, it is something you can put on your resume, but I really believe, and that's why we ask about them, right? Your student organizations are important, but I became the person I was because of my job that I had to work to kind of get by in college. And we know that that's a big piece of it too. So I absolutely love that. We've got about 17 minutes left in our scheduled time, pretty good. So we are in a position where we could open things up to the folks who are here with us. If you all have questions, I pulled up the button, I need to click the button. And I think it will allow everyone else here, if you would like, to turn on your mics or your cameras. So you could turn on your mic and camera, ask a question, or you're more than welcome to put those questions in the chat. And until someone does that, we might just all stare at you kind of awkwardly. So please ask us your questions.
Yeah, could you repeat that again?
If no one has questions, that is okay too. I won't actually pressure you to turn on your mic and your camera. I've learned so much for today. I guess I want to make sure I give our panelists a chance. Do any of you have questions for each other or questions that you think would be good to ask? You're like, don't make us do it, Corinne. Okay, well, if you feel good, what I want to make sure is for the folks who are here, you know how you can get more information heading out of today's meeting. If you still have questions, we currently have discussion boards going on in our change of major and transition Canvas community with some of our upper class leaders and even some of the folks in the panels here today. So you can go in there and just ask them questions directly and learn more about their experiences. As I mentioned earlier, we've also got a lot of events coming up, opportunities for you to continue to build relationships and make those connections with students, advisors, call-up faculty and industry folks. Some of the upcoming events that we have are the November planning sessions. These are those major specific opportunities for you to connect with the academic advisors in the major that you want to go to. So we are going to talk about some of the course options. Alex was talking about the different routes you can take in engineering, so some of those topics like what can you expect later on in the curriculum, and then things you can be doing now as an applicant so that you can prepare to make sure you are on track to co-op and graduate as early as possible. So check out our events page. We'll be adding those dates and times, and then you will certainly get announcements and emails from me about them as well. If we could give a virtual, I think all the panelists are just going to applaud each other, but if we could all applaud each other because this was amazing. I just loved this. I'm really thankful to you all for giving the time and the energy and sharing your experiences. I think this is the story that we don't get to hear a lot, is like how good it feels and all the like fruits that come from the effort that you put on the front end to land in the place that you saw yourself in. So just, you all should be so proud of yourselves. Keep it up. Congratulations for being you. And I will continue reaching out. I love to hear about your journeys. And for our audience, if you have questions, please reach out to us. We are all here. You'll have the panelists' contact information and the calendar invite and mine as well. So we hope to hear from you soon. You all have a good one. Thank you so much.